Hello everybody and welcome to this evening's live RGT race coverage. We're here on V Cycling News and we're bringing you stage one of the Tour of the North. Stage one is around the Norwegian town of Meissen. It's a 40.85 kilometer route and there's 513 meters of climbing. It's a 4-lap route actually, so there'll be the riders will be going over this road 4 times, and I was hoping to be racing this evening. Looked like a great tour. It's got 4 days in a row, but unfortunately I'm a little bit under the weather, so I'm having to sit this one out. So I'm going to be bringing you coverage of today's race instead. Let's take a quick look then at some of the riders that are in today's stage. A few familiar names there. We've got Alex Plager, who is the organizer of today's race, and he set up the whole series, so he's in there. We've got Robert Jenko, Mathieu Trujon, Kenneth Van Sina, Jürgen Janssens, John By the Way from RGT, John Beams off the back of his very impressive win at the Tour de Alps over the last couple of weeks. And today's race is going to be taking place on the brand new RGT One app, so we'll be having a look at that today. You will see a little bit of the One app up on the screen. Let's head across then to the start line. And here we are then. So race is starting in about 40 seconds. Hi Francois, thanks for tuning in this evening. And you can see riders are getting warmed up and we're literally just about to get going this evening. And yeah, if I just show you a little bit here, this is the new One app. So you can see it looks a little bit different. Not too different if you're within the actual ride itself, but we've got over on the right hand side there is the mini map, so you can see there the route profile up in the at the bottom. That's the profile, but then the actual loop, the course, is on the right hand side there, and that can be toggled on and off from the menu. And also the you can see as I move the mouse around, you get these new buttons down the bottom then, and the way the riders go, obviously I've been left standing at the edge of the road because I am not racing this evening. But here we are then, a couple of the pedalers in the orange here, straight out the gate then on this slight descent. Although here's Nick Greenall from Ratio Racing into the front. He's got Nicky Hogard in behind, Kenneth Van Sina, Jury Delania, so stacked field. Just a little bit of a split there, just a few riders need to watch out just for that. It's a little bit windy initially. Ooh, as we go up into the trees, and already there's a little bit of a split as we got this downhill section that's caused a little bit of a separation. And you can see on the right hand side here the little blue dot moving around this course profile up the left hand side as we hit the base of the climb. It's not too steep, early parts of the slope around about 6 to 7% gradient, an odd little bit touching on 8%. But actually it's not too bad. Once you get over the first few hundred meters, it then levels off to 3 or 4%, which does give riders a little bit of an opportunity for a little bit of drafting. So if you can get over these early bits, then the rest of the course shouldn't be too bad, I don't think. So we're on Joel Shepherd's at the moment then, and he's nicely in the pack at the moment, and he was a late addition onto the leaderboard. We didn't see him on the rider list, but he's in there and he's making good headway now. And yeah, we've got quite a few starters on here then, 54 riders in total as we pop out into the trees then. But already seeing it getting strung out a little bit. It's Henrik Merd making the early running here. You can see on the left hand side it's a 1-2-3 currently for the pedalers team, with Merd, Janssen and Anthony Debray setting things alight just here. I don't know if Henrik is looking to set something up for his teammates later on, but he is making the early running at the front here, and he's onto the section now where it does slightly ease off to the 5% gradients. So a little bit of a shuffling in behind then, as we see Joey Delanio coming into second, Rockwell into third. Henrik Merd here with a 30-metre lead. So 50 riders have made the start of this race then. And a little bit further down, we are in the pack on the left hand side. That's our chase group, spread out a little bit over the road. But Henrik Merd making the early running then. He's putting out some decent numbers at the moment, but it looks like those other riders are trying to get back towards him. We are on the first lap then. And they're just about to catch up with him then. So if we head back and see there Henrik's rider stats, 260 watts he's putting out. Hi Simon Miller, thanks for tuning in. Yeah, got the mini map there. You can see riders just coming up just about to the top left hand corner then. At that point they're going to swing around and start heading back down the other side of this climb. We've got a pack here of around about 15 riders or so. Mathieu Trujon just in yellow at the back there in the yellow kit alongside another French rider. As we see now, a little bit of an effort off the front here. Alex Rockwell looking to crest this hill first. He's got John Beams for company. He knows how to climb. We've seen that as they round this corner then. Just a little bit more climbing to go. These guys are trying to get a little bit of a gap. You can see there it has opened up a little bit. They've got 40 metres on the main pack, and as soon as they hit that downhill slope, that distance will extend rapidly and it'll be up to the pack to chase them down. Doug Hart there, we know he's got a good engine. He's in the middle trying to bridge across, and it is stringing things out in behind then. So it's all breaking apart a little bit as we crest this hill. We can see on the left, this is the chase of the peloton. We've got Wilkinson, Kutluka and Lorey trying to bridge across at the moment, trying to break out of the peloton itself, as Wilkinson does make a little bit of a gap. And those front four then, Beams, Merd, Rockwell and Hart, a little bit of a coming together with that group, and they've got a little opportunity here now then, as they have formed a small little group here. You can see already the two pedalers on the front there, Beams and Merd, they're keeping the pressure on even on this downhill section. That is just opening up that gap, 120 metres back to Wilkinson, Kutluka, Lorey's just behind, and then another 10 metres or so to Nick Greenall, who is leading up the peloton chase. There's the peloton then. See them on the left hand side. They are 160 metres behind this group of four. And that's a not insignificant gap on a course like this with a little bit of a hill. And we've got a round about 4 kilometers of flat then to bring these riders back round to the front of the lap. And that will be, so it's actually 5 laps today. I mentioned earlier it was 4, but it's 5 laps. Around about 1500 meters of climbing, 1500 meters of descent, 5 kilometers of flat. So these 4 riders are going to be up against it on the flat. The peloton are going to be working hard to try and pull them back in, although that gap has opened up a little bit more. But Robert Jenko in a bit of no man's land at the moment between the 2 groups. Let's see if we can catch him there. There he is, just off the front a little bit there. And yeah, he's in no man's land at the moment. 70 meters off the front of the peloton, but still 100 meters behind that front group of 4. But if we can get across, that'll be another pedaler into that front group. We cut back to the leaders. Let's pan around, see if we can see him coming across then. He is gaining, he is gaining. You can see that that distance on the left hand side down to 75 meters. There he is, just in the background there. Doug Hart on the front giving us a little wave. And the peloton, we cut back to those guys. You can just see here they are currently bunched up nicely on the left hand side. It is not strung out at all. Robert Jenko here maybe just trying to instill a little bit of an effort, just trying to get this peloton moving, because at the moment they are getting left behind by these 4 riders. And Robert Jenko, this is a great effort by him to bridge the gap. We saw him recently in the ECKD race. That was held a few weeks ago on the, or one of the classic routes. I want to say it was the Roubaix route, but I'm not quite sure from memory. But he won on what was a hilly route. I'm pretty sure it was Roubaix, and it was up an uphill finish as well. And you can see him here. He's left the peloton behind and he's bridged across to this front 4. He's just about to make contact then. And that is a great effort from him, because now the pedalers, they have got 3 riders in this front group of 5. And that's going to put them in a strong position. If they want to work together to extend this gap over the remaining few laps, then firstly they can do that. And then secondly, one of these riders, they can work together to attack off the front, whilst the other 2 maybe sit in, let Rockwell and Hart do the work. Normally it's the Ratio Racing guys who are controlling races like this, but it's good to see the pedalers. They're getting some race tactics under their belts. They've got some strong riders, and we can see that from the way Jenko came across from Beams's recent win in the Tour of the Alps then. And he's back on the front and he's making a little effort here. Look, this is quite early on. I'd have thought they would have waited a little bit longer, but Doug Hart, he's seen that and he's looking to respond. Maybe these are just some early efforts to try and wear out these riders. And at the moment, it looks like Jenko's getting dropped. Maybe this was just a little bit too early, because Jenko, he's done that big effort to get across. Possibly not quite got the legs to get back on just yet. He maybe needed a little bit longer just to rest up. So I'm not sure he's going to be thanking his teammate at all just yet. So in that peloton, we've got around about a dozen riders. And they're 400 meters behind. That is a long old way. Here they are then. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah, around about a dozen, maybe 13. Baker's dozen there. They're trying to get back onto level terms, but it's not quite working just yet. Whereas back at the front, these 5 riders, they've all come back together. Jenko sat in there, looks like he's getting a little bit of recovery. Henrik Merd on the front up at 4.8. And you can see how well the draft is working there. We're currently sat on board with Robert Jenko, and he's saving 160 watts off the back of those riders in front of him. You can see on the left hand side there, Beams, Hart on the front, they're putting out 4.3. Jenko around about 2.5 just then. So we come around this slightly winding part of the course. These riders are putting in a good time trial, team time trial effort here. The pedalers don't actually compete in the weekly team time trial event, but they are putting in a pretty good routine there with a rider on the front, the other rider sitting in behind. And here we get our first look at the finishing straight then. You can see on the right hand side of that sign, 4% for 330 meters or so. You can see the finish line there up ahead. It's a long straight finish. Also, it is 3.8, 3.9% gradient at the moment. Alex Rockwell there, who recently won the Southborough and District Wheelers Club Championship event on Swift, a race that you can find on the Recycling News channel. He was just leading them up that climb. There's me on the right hand side then, just sat there patiently. I'm sitting this one out. Right, let's take a little look at our chase then. Still a dozen or so riders in this chase. We're not making too much inroads at the moment. And as they now pass through the start-finish line then, they are steaming on ahead. At the back of the front of the race. Doug Hart now, 4.2 watts per kilo, keeping the pressure on as they hit the base of the climb for the second time. These 5 numbers into the red then. They are keeping it together at the moment. No separation from these guys just yet. Once again, Henrik Maird on the front, 5.5 watts per kilo. Just creating a bit of a gap then back to Jenko. He made that great effort to get across, but unfortunately, he's just getting dropped here at the moment. Looks like he's going to fall off the back of this group then. And he's going to get picked up very shortly by the peloton. We've got Jerry Delanier, who is 50 meters off the front of the peloton group. And the rest of them currently still together in a small group then. And they're saying that looks like a couple of riders have perhaps just fallen off the back of that group. Robert Jenko getting caught now in no man's land, but very soon he's going to be caught and passed by Jury Delanier. Here is Jury. And here he comes then. You can see just up the road from him, 35 meters. That's Robert Jenko. And he is about to get caught. And he's passed. And Jury Delanier is not slowing down at all. He's about 100 meters, 110 meters behind our leading group of 4 then. Oh, bit early for the results. We'll bring those to you later on. Hi Wayne. Wayne the King Schnitzling, tuning in from down under. Thanks for watching, thanks for commenting. If you are watching, no matter where you are, please do leave us a comment and we'll get them up on screen. Must be pretty early there, I think, Wayne. Oh, he's in New Zealand. Sorry, oh, that's Wendy. So Wendy's in New Zealand. God, we've got a couple of Southern Hemisphere viewers today. Thanks for tuning in. So yeah, the new interface is looking really good. I can actually just show the guys a little bit here. This is the new menu then on the new One app, and in here you can go in and you can change your equipment on the fly. You can do that whilst you're riding, which might present some interesting opportunities for riders who might want to change their kit mid-ride and cause a little bit of trouble for commentators like myself, or maybe try and sneak into a bunch with a different colour kit. And we've also got here, you can check your setup, your sensors. So that's my setup there. And then also you can check out some of the other options, such as putting on the different graphics, different ride interface, etc. So yeah, the new interface is looking good. And I'm sure these 4 riders at the moment off the front, as Jerry Delania then comes across, makes that junction. That's a great effort from him. He used that hill to really good effect. And over he is. There we go. So it's back to a group of 5. And now it looks like he's got the live stream on as well. He's giving a little wave to the camera there. Doug Hart as well. Great to see. Loved to have riders watching and racing. Back in the group then, it's Wilkinson. We saw him early on. He tried to bridge across, wasn't quite able to do it, but it looks like he's trying to have a bit of a go again. But these guys, they're now 700 meters behind, but they're still coming up the climb, or just over the top actually. And this leading group of 5 are halfway down, so they've got the speed and the momentum. And as much as I said that Delania was there and across, these guys are keeping the hammer down, and he's really having to work hard just to stay on. I think he is a lighter rider, which doesn't help him when he's on these descents. But he is back into the pack now then. There he is. But once again, slightly just falling off the back there. Not a big gap, only a couple meters. We know he's got strong legs. He'll just close that back up. But he does need to be mindful. These 4 riders working well together. Could easily push off the front then. And once again, John Beams putting in a little bit of an effort here. Trying to just mix it up. Doug Hart's going with him. Rockwell's responded. Jury and Maird a little bit slow to respond. I think these are just little moves by these riders, just trying to shake things up a little bit. Just trying to soften up the legs of the other riders, having a little go at each other. And then we'll see on the next few laps whether any of these riders do manage to shake off the other ones on that climb. That's the key point on this lap. If a rider can get a good gap opened up on the final lap towards the top of that hill, they might have a chance on the descent to stay away. It's not very technical, this final section. You can see it does undulate a little bit, not too much, and we do have that slightly uphill climb up to the line. So at that point, any rider who is away off the front, they're going to be praying that their legs can carry them up that final climb and hold off any chasing pack. Back in the peloton then, let's cut across to the chase. Looks like things have broken apart a little bit. This is a chase behind the main peloton. This is a little group of 5 riders down in 19th, down to 23rd place. They're going well together in a little group. So working our way back up then. We've got Walker here from OTR and Humphrey. And they've got Jurgen van Beers for company. And then just up the road from them, we have got Harding. There they are. And then back up to the main peloton now, down to 9 riders. is Anthony Dubray. We saw him earlier, put in a little bit of an effort. And as I did say that, he's now launching off the front of this group again. So Dubray, Leray, Kutluka, Mads Klinsgaard here, Wilkinson, who we've mentioned a few times, Joris Sheppers, Nick Greenall, and Jürgen Janssens. Back to the front then. Again, looks like these attacks are continuing. Doug Hart now up into the red numbers. And just behind them, there he is, just coming into shot. Joey Delania, he was 10 metres off the back there. So he's done well just to get back on. And these guys, they really are having a bit of a slugfest at each other. Just putting in those little efforts, just trying to make each other work hard. And now we see Henrik Merd. He goes off the front, but Beams uses him as a little lead out, a little launch pad, and he goes past. And then they settle back down. Jury trying to come across now. So though he's not in the Ratio Racing kit, Jury is a Ratio Racing rider. So it's now 2 pedalers, 2 Ratio riders, and Doug Hart, the independent rider there in the purple RGT kit. So whether this is a little bit of a ploy by Jury just to fly under the radar a little bit. I know he does often ride in the pink kit. This isn't something he's just done for this race. But it does mean that these other riders might not realise. So it does show he has got his RR in his name on the left hand side in the rider list there. So hopefully these riders are aware. Hi David. Oh, thanks for tuning in. Hopefully the setup is going well. I say David, your name is DVD327AC. So yeah, I've said David, but if that's not your name, I do apologise. Hopefully the transition across to the One app is nice and smooth for you. I know it's been pretty smooth for most people. A couple of small issues, which is to be expected. But I think the RGT team are doing pretty well to respond to issues. And the main thing seems to be the transfer of the premium subscription. So if you are transferring across, what you need to do is download the RGT cycling app onto your mobile device first. So there's 2 apps, the RGT cycling app, and then also there's now the RGT remote app. So if you download the cycling app, and that's onto, if you've got an Apple subscription, your iPhone, or on Android, do it on your Google phone, and then that will sync with the relevant App Store or Google Play Store, and that will resync your subscription, reconnect to your premium subscription. And then if you're using it on Windows, such as I am, it will then allow you to carry on with the premium subscription. So that only seems to be the only little hiccup that I've seen a few times. Can't get the phone app updated for the premium yet. Is that on the Android? I know they've been a little bit slower with their release on the Play Store. You can on the iPhone do a forced refresh, so that might be an opportunity. But that needs to be the RGT cycling app, the app itself, not the remote app, which is more of a control app now. That's a slightly different app, so you have an optional second device. Right, so these guys coming around to start the climb for the 3rd time. Henrik Merd has been the one who's been leading things up the climb on the first 2 laps. And once again, he's taking the lead out. Things are a little bit calmer on this lap then. Not quite halfway yet. Once we're up and down this climb, we'll be around about halfway for today's race. And they are going to be coming up on some lapped riders soon. Anthony Dubray, he is currently off the front of the peloton group. Let's bring you some coverage of Anthony then, as he's putting in that effort. He deserves some screen time. There he is. He's currently 60 meters ahead of the peloton. of 8 riders currently. But he's still a long way, 500 meters, over 500 meters behind our front 5. I think he might have left it too late if he wants to try and bridge across to those guys. Because here they are, nicely up the road. There's Alex Rockwell at the moment, who is leading them. And if I zoom back out a bit, you can see there, Doug Hart, a gap has opened up 20 meters or so. He is now looking to close that gap, and he's coming back across, but that was up at 25 meters just now. So you can see how Rockwell here is putting the pressure on, opening those gaps up, causing these riders to feel a little bit of pain. We are now onto the slightly gentler slopes of 4.6%. This does mean there's a little bit more draft saving to be had. So if you can break free, that's obviously going to give less of a benefit to the riders following you. And as I say, that Rockwell there puts in a little spurt, opens up a 10-meter gap, and that means that there's absolutely no draft to these riders following behind at this stage. There we've got Beams, Med and Jury. They're kind of just holding steady together at the moment. A little group of 3 behind. And now Doug Hart slipping away 50 meters further back. We'll see if he's able to catch up. I know that he's very strong on the descents and on the flats, so I wouldn't write him off just yet. He has got a good engine. He's I believe a slightly heavier rider, but that does mean that when you see his watts per kilos at 5, that means he's putting out a lot of watts. So when we're on the flatter slopes, that's really going to allow him to, on the downhill and also on the flats, that's really going to see him come back. And here he is already, actually just on this slightly gentler slope, coming across, and he's closed that gap. But just as he does, Alex Rockwell puts in a little bit of an effort on the front. No chance for Doug Hart to grab a breather as these guys are coming up to the top of this climb. Hi Keith, thanks for tuning in. Have you got the cat with you as well today? No problem, helping you out on the Discord channel, and also there's been a lot of good community support on the Facebook group as well today. There's Med and Rockwell round this top corner with a little bit of a gap. Then we'll see Beams, Jury and Hart. At the moment they've got no need. Well, Hart is going to be the one who needs to do the chasing. Beams and Jury have got teammates up the road then. And at this stage it's going to be Doug Hart that is going to be losing out. But yeah, great community, lots of people willing and able to help out. And Doug Hart then launches an attack. He can see the danger, he can see that he's got a bridge across, but at the same time he doesn't want to drag these other 2 riders with him. He wants them to be doing some work. And they're going to make a little break for it down this hill. They're sticking with him then, up at 62 kilometers an hour. As we cut across, we've got this chase group then on the left hand side. Chase group of 8 riders. Mads Klingsgaard then just making a little bit of a break towards the top. Sometimes that's just a tactic, just to get over the top. And then you've got a chance just to have a slight breather on the downhill. Just gives you a little bit more time for recovery. I'm sure he will get caught up by the other riders. Nick Reynolds already caught him up then. There's a little bit of a gap formed. But I think these riders, there's enough of them there as they come up to the top, will be able to bridge across. As we see Doug Hart then, he has made that junction across to the front group. Brought John Beans with him. And there's Delania just behind again at the moment, just a little bit off the back. We've seen that happen a few times. As we hit the pretty much halfway stage in terms of distance, 20 kilometers. 31 minutes down. So we're looking at around about an hour's racing then. We have got another live broadcast after this, and that will be Riley Harvey bringing you live coverage of the Moonriders race. And that's going to be on the usual VCN channels, but we hopefully won't miss the start of that, but it will be close. So we'll be cutting across to that straight after this race. Hopefully these 5 leaders can keep the pressure on. They've been riding pretty hard, pretty fast pace. They haven't slouched too much in this group of 5, and that gap to the, I call it the peloton, the chase group, now at 1.1 kilometers. So it really, even though it's 5 riders versus 8 riders, these 5 riders are pushing on all of the time, working really well together. And that peloton, I think there's a few riders there. I'm not going to say any names because I don't know if they are or who they are, but maybe there's a couple of riders who, I think if I was in that group, I'd probably just be hanging on, not being able to contribute to the chase at all, really. So perhaps that's what's happening. They're not able to participate in that chase, and that means that you've only got a few riders who are working, and that can mean that, yeah, if they're the only ones working, you've got a couple of riders there, 5 on the front, who are very invested in putting some effort in. So even though it's 5 versus 8, actually it could be 5 versus 4. So yeah, not to say that is what's happening, of course, but it's, yeah, just a hunch at this stage. As I say, these front 5 riders are doing a very good job at keeping it together. So hopefully you guys have all been able to get set up on the new app without too much issues. As I mentioned, there is the Discord channel, which is great for some support, and also the Facebook group as well. There's a lot of really good support out on the Facebook group. And Riley did a bit of a first look video, and you can find that on our YouTube channel and on our Facebook channel. And he just talks you through some of the features and functions, and it's worth having a look even if you have downloaded the app, because it might just show you a few little insights, because he's had it for a few days, so he's had a good look around. It might just give you a little bit of an overview of something you might not have spotted, or an extra little feature. I know that the devs, the developers at RGT, have dropped in a few so-called Easter eggs, little surprises. I've not found any just yet. I've not had a chance really to ride using the new software, but I'm looking forward to getting stuck in. As we see Doug Hart getting stuck in on the front here. Looks like he's recovered from that climb where he got slightly gapped, and as I mentioned, we knew he would be strong on the front then. There he is, look, you can see he's putting out 530 watts. And he's putting the hurt on these riders behind, stringing it out. Henrik Maed is the closest rider at the moment. Then it's Rockwell. See how those gaps of 8 meters or so are opening up between these riders. Back in the peloton, the chase group behind. Looks like they're all pretty much still together at the moment. Slightly surprised to see that Joris Scheppers a little bit further back. Here he is. Don't think he's been racing the last few days, but he's a little bit of a mountain goat. He doesn't mind a hill or a mountain to go up. So slightly surprised to see him off the back, but I've not seen him on the platform that much the last couple of days or last week or so. So perhaps he's just had a little bit of a break. Still got his legs haven't quite warmed up yet. That might just be why he's just there with Harding. Things have calmed down again at the front then. And just as I say that, ooh, Henrik Med. Oh, where has it gone? There we go. Still getting used to a couple of these new controls. Henrik Med then putting in a bit of an effort on the front, but it comes back together. And in behind, Wilkinson, let's you can see he's there, 11 watts per kilo. Let's get back to that chase group. So that's Shepherd and Harding, who are a little bit behind our main chase, and here they are. Looked like there was a little bit of excitement amongst these riders, and there we can see just up the road, Nick Greenall's trying to get across, but it's Wilkinson who is just up the road there. Mentioned him a few times. He looks lively, looks animated, and he is stringing out this pack. So keep an eye on them on the left hand side. That's the chase group, and you can see those gaps opening up there from Jenko to Greenall to Wilkinson. At this point, they're a long way back. Our leading quintet of 5 are just about to start lap or climb number 4. They've passed the start finish banner. Let's see how things go this time. We saw Doug Hart on the last lap just falling a little bit off the back. This being the penultimate lap, things might just settle down slightly. Riders might just be thinking about that final lap, keeping their legs fresh for a final assault on the last lap. But on the chase then, we've still got Greenall just slightly ahead, 35 metres or so of this chase group, and he is 10 metres behind Wilkinson. And Jenko now, let's bring our camera back. You can see he has a gap to Cut Luca behind, who then has another gap to Anthony Dubray as well. So as they go through the start finish line, it really is getting strung out in that chase group with 2 laps to go. Still 16 kilometres, 10 miles. But there is lots of action going on. So back to this leading group, and as we saw on previous climbs, there is Doug Hart falling out of the back of these 4. We'll have to see if it's too early to write him off again. I don't think so. We saw on the last lap that he was able to bring it back together. How was the Slovenian ride this evening, Keith? That is, it's good to see that back up on RGT. I used to do that one quite regularly. The Monday Runder, that's the group ride, and then they run it as a race on Wednesday. I know they've got it set up as 3 categories this year, A, B and C, depending on your FTP. You can check out your category on the virtueslow.cc website. But those around about 50-kilometre races, usually about 90-minute, 90-minute races, so really nice, slightly longer race. And they start at 5 PM as well, so kind of perfect that they don't run too late into the evening. So I will be looking out for a few of those very soon, once I'm feeling a little bit better. But I'm going to be here on Wednesday evening again. And we've got Alex Plager. He's going to be bringing you coverage on Tuesday and Thursday. So at the moment, Doug Hart then 200 metres back. That is going to be a big ask, I think, even for him to try and close that up with a lap and a half to go. But I do think he is the sort of rider that can hold off that chasing peloton. Wow, it's absolutely fragmented. It's no longer a peloton. Let me check in on those guys. So it seems to have come back together a little bit on this climb. We saw a little bit of action towards the base, slightly strung out, but we've got 8 riders there, still together. So it's still going to be a bit of a push for these guys as they come round for the final lap. A little way off that yet. They're at 14.8 kilometers to go. They're a kilometer down on these front 4 riders who have just crested the hill for the 4th time and are now on the rear on the descent. Here they are then, making their way down the rear side. Looks like they have eased off a little bit. We've seen a few attacks over the top on the previous laps. This could play into the hands of Doug Hart. They're at 400 meters back. He is just about to crest the hill. There he is. See, look at him. He's up at 340 watts. And as I mentioned, this Alex Rockwell then decides enough is enough, puts in a little bit of an effort to try and keep the momentum up. Maybe an opportunity to, well, he doesn't want to drop Jury, that's his teammate. And then Beams comes over the top. 625 watts he puts out there. Opens up a little gap. They're moving again. They don't want Doug Hart getting back. At this point, it's 4 of them fighting it out for the podium. One of them's going to be left unhappy. But they like their odds. And I fucked it, haven't I? I've done that. Interesting. Earlier when I was testing this, it wasn't cutting out at all. But now it has. So unfortunately, guys, I've absolutely ruined it for you there. I don't think I'm going to be able to get back in. So unfortunately I'm going to miss the end of that race, but that means that Riley can get going on the Moon Riders Tour for Europe. That's going to be coming up in about 15 minutes. That's going to start. He's at stage 1 from Zolder. So yeah, sorry about that, guys. A little bit of a mistake from me there because I wasn't riding this evening because of my feeling slightly under the weather. I wasn't pedaling, although I did do a little pedal. That seemed like it was quicker than half an hour to me, but maybe that's just because I was enjoying that racing so much. That's a bit embarrassing, isn't it, guys? So sorry for that. And as I mentioned, the Moon Riders Tour then, that is coming up in just a moment. 15 minutes time, and that's from Zolder in Belgium. So there's 6 stages: Monday, Tuesday, Friday this week, and then Monday, Tuesday, Friday next week. And the 6 of the Moon Riders riders, they've created these courses from their home areas, and Riley is going to be bringing you hopefully some slightly better race coverage than what I've just done on race 1. So do go and check that out in about 15 minutes time. And yeah, apologies for dropping the ball this evening on this live coverage. But whilst you're here, as you can see, this is the new events page. So you can check up here the sign-ups. You can see who is in this race then. Looks like there's some big names. Daniel Neugebauer, Henry Farrell from Moon Riders, Francois Eicher from the Moon Riders, Askew, quite obviously a lot of Moon Riders supporting their own race. Walter Claes, he's been on a fine run of form recently. This being a slightly flatter race might suit him. Gavin Ash, he's got a good engine. Casper Hayderdown, Fleming back. Yeah, some big names in this race then. So let's see how they all get on. You can also filter using the app by male and female. And also you can search as well. So there we go. Doesn't look like there's any female riders in this race this evening. all male participants at the moment. So there's the Virtue Slow Monday ride that I was talking about, the one that Keith mentioned. That is 92 riders. That is all. They're always well populated as well. Really strong Slovenian contingent. 46 kilometers this evening, so around about an hour and a bit, depending on the size of your group. The Max group ride, that's that happens to start pretty much at the same time as the Virtue Slow ride, but also picks up great numbers. That's the French contingent who mostly participate in that ride. So we will then also have the Ride Said Fred. This is by Samir. This is the part of the Fred Whitten Challenge. That's a number of the routes on. He's broken down the Fred Whitten Challenge course into 6 rides, so you can go and ride those. Each of those is pretty hilly. What else have we got here in the new app? So the Just Ride page. These are the 12 courses that you can ride. Oh, not sure what happened there. So you can go through, click on, for example, Leuven City in Flanders. Gives you a bit more info about that course. You can adjust your start position, which is quite a handy thing. You can drag that across, start wherever you want on the course. Click on riders up here, and it will show you who's currently on course. Quite a range of riders out on course at the moment. Right, well, I hope you enjoyed the coverage that I was able to bring you this evening. As I mentioned, go and give Riley some company now over on. He's going to be going live very soon on our Facebook and YouTube channels. So apologies for missing the end of that race. That was a bit of a rookie error by myself. I really should have known better than to do that. Yeah, we will also be bringing you the American Moon Riders time slot as well, and a little bit later. That's at 2:30 AM UK time. That's 7:30 PM Mountain Standard Time over in the States. There's quite a lot of coverage on this week. And also, I'm just going to show you one more time the pop-up ad. So this is coming up in a few weeks' time. It starts on Tuesdays and put on by Alex Plager. This is a team division. Team event. 2 divisions. You can sign up on RGT DB. Alright, well, thank you everyone. Thanks for tuning in. Hope to catch you all again soon. And please do go check out Riley's coverage of the Moon Riders Tour.